Today, the Biden administration finalizing its crackdown, meanwhile, on gas-powered vehicles, announcing the strictest ever rules for tailpipe emissions. This is where the tone is set, right here. The White House, the EPA. This new EPA rule scales back its proposal from last year, delaying a dramatic boost in EV sales until after 2030. But it forces more than half of new car sales to be electronic or hybrid by 2032. EV sales made up less than 8% of total vehicle sales last year. Joining me right now is the president and CEO of the American Petroleum Institute, Mike Sommers. Mike, great to see you. Thank you so much for being here. Your reaction to the administration's ongoing war with fossil fuels?
Well, the bottom line here, Maria, is that these are cars that Americans don't want and can't afford. The rule that the EPA put out yesterday is bad for American consumers, it's bad for American jobs, and it's only good for China. The American people need to rise up against this rule and reject it. And in fact, they're already voting with their wallets. As you know, these cars are staying on lots tremendously longer than a conventional engine. And Americans are just rejecting these kinds of policies out of the Biden administration.
Well, Krisha, this is why people are questioning whether or not Joe Biden is compromised. And because this soft approach to China, even this climate change agenda pushes all the business to China because the batteries are made there.
Exactly. And this is exactly why Donald Trump made the speech he did, talking about the bloodbath, which everyone was up in arms about. But this is the reality. We are being pushed to the point where Americans will be losing their jobs. It's America last. And people will ultimately fail because China is the predominant power in our world. And this is, again, strategic and directed by the Biden administration.
Mike, what about that? Because Republicans are pushing back against Biden's green agenda. The House aiming to debate and vote on 6 measures this week, which go against the president's energy policy. Are they having any luck? Republicans launched another investigation into the administration's temporary pause in liquefied natural gas exports, claiming it's a tactic to win over environmentalists before the election.
We have tremendous energy security in this country because we can produce the oil that we need in this country. And that means because that we now produce about 13.3 million barrels of oil every single day, that gives us energy security and energy leadership throughout the world. What this rule does is it sacrifices that energy security to China, where most of these rare earth minerals are mined and processed. So this doesn't make any sense from a national security perspective. It certainly doesn't make any sense from an energy leadership perspective. We shouldn't be working to secure our own resources here at home. As you said in the beginning of this segment, only about 8% of the cars sold in this country right now are electric vehicles. In 8 short years, this rule proposes that that goes to 68%. That means fewer consumer freedoms, loss of American jobs, and yes, that is a gift to our greatest geopolitical foe, China.
Unbelievable, Michael.
So, Mike, you know, when you think about 2 big ironies, right? We've gotten to where we want to get in terms of energy independence, which is absolutely tied to our national security. And yet now we're going to say, no, we're going to take that back. And then just from a consumer perspective, so we're going to say everybody buys a car, but what about the infrastructure? What about the charging infrastructure? We don't hear about those kind of investments, right? I mean, that totally turns the whole consumerism concept on its head, right, Mike?
This is exactly why consumers are rejecting these vehicles. They're worried they're going to be stranded somewhere without access to power. So we need to make sure that we continue to use the internal combustion engine. We need a diversity of choices. For EVs, a lot of consumers want an EV, and we should allow consumers to have that choice. But consumers should also be able to have the choice of a car that makes sense for their lifestyle. If you live in an urban environment, if you're only commuting 30 miles a day, it might make sense for you to have an EV. But for most of Americans who commute longer than that and are concerned about where they're going to charge up their vehicle, this is a vehicle that just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Consumers deserve that choice. And the federal government making that choice for them is, I think, something that most Americans are going to reject.
Yeah, and another decision that the federal government is making for the rest of us. And, you know, isn't it interesting, Mark Tepper, that even as they in the administration continue to push back on fossil fossil fuels, oil prices are near records in terms of, recent years. Take a look at oil this morning. It's at $80. Yesterday it was at $83. The Energy Information Administration reporting that U.S. oil and gas companies spent $234 billion on M&A last year, the most spent since 2012. Your thoughts?
And that'll probably pick up, I would think, this year and next year as well, when there's a little more interest rate transparency, visibility. But yeah, I mean, you look at where oil prices are today, obviously up quite a bit from where they were when Trump was in office. That's a supply and demand issue. That is also, it's also inflationary. And inflation continues to wreak havoc. When you have oil prices that high, I mean, that's reflected in pretty much every single good that we can purchase. I mean, it goes all the way through the economy.
And don't forget the CPI last week. It was hotter than expected, and largely because of oil.
Yeah.
Because, Mike, isn't that the underlying issue here with inflation, the cost of transportation?
Well, the truth of the matter is that we're going to need more oil and gas into the future, and thank goodness for American production. In 2005, 2006 timeframe, we were producing only about 5 million barrels of oil a day, and that number was going down. And the fact that today that we're now producing over 13 million barrels of oil a day, that is a security blanket against the geopolitical world that we're living in, where we have 2 wars going on, potentially more. If it weren't for American production, oil prices would be significantly higher, and that should be a point of pride for America.
It sure should, from an economic as well as national security perspective. Mike, great to get your perspective this morning. Thank you, sir.